Very good. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Thursday, January 25th, 2024. It is 2 p.m. in council chambers at City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street, Sandpoint, Idaho. And this is the regular meeting of the Selkirk Fire Service Joint Powers Board is now called to order. For the record, I am Gavin Gilcrease, the fire chief, presiding. Also, our members of the board, Commissioner and Chair of Sagal Board, Geraldine Lewis, Sandpoint City Councilor Kyle Schreiber, and representative of the city, representing the city of Sandpoint, and Commissioner Ken Deck, representing Westside Fire District. The only member that is absent is Richard Townsend, and Geraldine Lewis is filling in for him. Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Deck, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is item 3, public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public participating remotely on Zoom today?
No, we do not.
No. Are there any members of the public in the room who wish to address the board with any general concerns before we get underway with the agenda?
I do.
Mr. Glass?
For the record, my name is Merlin Glass. I also sit on the Dover City Council, but actually I'm here representing the public, myself and the public. I got to put my city council hat on. It's over a bid that was put in for extrication equipment for Westside Fire that will utilize some of our urban renewal funds to pay for. We pushed it through past our attorney and found out that because Westside is a taxing authority, they can approach our URA for support on the heading of public safety items, etc. So there'll be no news on, there'll be future news on that. We also got our fire station over there that had about 1.5 feet of snow in front of all the doors, 3 bays, that I saw one of your firefighters trying to clear with a snowblower. So I was able to make a phone call and get our guy with a bobcat and a snowblower and clear it off. But I think that's actually the responsibility of the fire district to take care of that, because they leased the facility. And I had coffee with County Commissioner Luke Olmont this morning, expressing some of my views about the level of staffing for fire protection for the JPA. And with that, I would just express that I think JPA is the way to go in sharing resources for the greatest economy and the best effect for all. But the minimum staffing has to be established so that we start from there in terms of costs and capability. That's it. Any question?
Mr. Glass, I want to appreciate, just thank you and tell you how much we appreciate you being able to help us go after that rescue tool for replacing the one that's out at Westside right now. We've been working on it for a little bit. We finally got it nailed down to that point. And I just want to thank you for your help and getting us out with that. And I did just an update on the snow blowing. I was in touch with the city of Dover's office. Last year, they were taking care of that for us. And this year, they didn't. And they were like, well, somebody complained. I'm like, well, you guys did it. It's no big deal. I just need to know. And we just switched gears and changed our plan.
It was a combination of things. And I think part of it is that the station's unmanned right now. And so it got dropped. And that's fine. We took care of it. But that's the way things get done.
Anyone else? Clint?
Yeah, for the record, Clint Frank, Selkirk Fire Captain and President of Local 2319. This is on behalf of the union. Obviously, we wrote a letter that was pretty specific about the leadership of the chief position recently. I just wanted to reach out if you had any questions or any points of clarification. You can give me a call or email anytime. Thank you.
You good? Anybody else? All right. Board and staff announcements. Are there any general announcements from the board members or staff?
I do not.
Meeting minutes approval. Will now proceed with the approval of the meeting minutes for December 7 meeting, and I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Second for discussion. Any discussion?
I would just make the note that I was not here at that meeting. I read through them and they look sound.
Yeah, that's the only question I had is none of us were actually
Right.
sitting on the.
We're basically reading it for typos.
Yeah.
So it looks fine.
I watched the video on YouTube and it seems
There you go,
correct,
it
yeah.
lined up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only comment I would make.
Got it.
Thank you.
So now we'll just do a vote all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right. Motion passes and the minutes are approved. The chief's report, get this pulled up here. Of course, there we go. So for the chief's report, the next item on the agenda, I'll begin with a report on the activity of the January 17, 2024 Sandpoint City Council meeting, and then follow that with the chief's general report. The report from the January 17th Sandpoint City Council meeting, the City Council is considering the City of Sandpoint's continued participation in the JPA. The mayor and the staff, just the update, and I'm sure everybody's gotten the email. Word that at the time they were scheduling it, but it has been scheduled for the meeting for the parties of JPA and the union representatives for Wednesday, January 31st at 5:30 p.m. I'm writing the wrong thing all the time. Local 2319, President Clint Frank has indicated a willingness to postpone the upcoming CBA negotiations for the purposes of the workshop. And the current JPA expiration will also need to be extended. And this is for information only for the JPA board and district representatives. Extending the JPA timelines will need to be considered by the entity boards themselves. So the resolution that we sent out would just be brought before each board to sign off on.
What does, the JPA contract itself expires in June, so it is in anticipation of not having enough time?
It actually expires at the end of April.
Oh,
It was signed in.
Signed June.
I think after
but-
all the signatures were done, it was signed, but the effective date is April.
okay,
And
and that's what would be extended then?
down
April
at,
date.
I highlighted it, I can't remember the glasses on, but down at the bottom section, that is the one that they would like to go into full force through June the 30th. And then therein after the agreement, that was the addition or the amendment to, best that I could tell you.
I gotcha, so it's extending it through the end of June, okay,
Right.
okay, and that'll be taken to each board.
Yes, ma'am. Chief's general reports. So anniversaries, I always like to start off with that. Used to call them work anniversaries. I'm switching it up. These are career anniversaries, not work anniversaries. Anybody likes work, we like career. Captain Cassidy went over 22 years this month, and Engineer Palkey went over 13 years this month. I want to congratulate them on their career anniversaries. Announcements. The captain's exam begins on Monday. We want to wish all the candidates the best of luck in that process. The list for it should last Monday and Tuesday, and the list should be finalized by the end of next week, and the order of finish posted. Our current list expires on February the 3rd, so we want to have it done before the weekend. While Northside Fire is in the process of search of their new chief, Deputy Chief Armstrong and I are making ourselves available should they need us for any overhead operations. We've gone a couple times if they've needed us. And I know that Chief Midden and Vern Roofer in the audience just wanted to say, you know, we want to continue to support you guys, so no worries on that. We've got it all worked out on our end, so anything changes on your end, just let us know.
Absolutely. No, I just thank you for wanting to help out. You're the right thing.
Nothing to it. And then the Hearst Rescue Tool, the joint purchase with City of Dover, which Merlin Glass just kind of went through. Again, we want to thank him for assisting us with that process. Incident review for the month of December. I want to start off before we get into the December numbers, just the January 12th through 15th. We call it the Isageddon 2024. Multiple calls for service due to frozen water lines and alarm activations. We did have one structure fire over in Ponderay. It was pretty much confined to room and contents, but we did assist on that one. We had Sagal with 68 calls for service during the month of December. Sandpoint had 72 and Westside had 9 for a total of 149. The personnel update, we have one of our personnel on modified duty. I have 2 recruit firefighters begin their training this past Monday. Recruit firefighter Stephen Omott and recruit firefighter Connor Nelson began on Monday, and they are currently in the apparatus bay drilling. That's where they were when I walked over here, so they're doing a good job. I've heard nothing but good things from them so far. We do have one additional recruit firefighter that will join them on February the 5th. His name is Carson Nicholas. I'm gonna get it in a minute. Training was fairly light this month due to the recruit academy and allowing personnel time to study for the captain's exam. Maintenance, there are no routine maintenance issues outstanding. We do have some apparatus updates. 1141, which is the ladder truck here in town, had to have a repair done to the aerial when it hit a low branch. Yesterday it was fixed. Sorry, not yesterday. The day before it was fixed, tested, and yesterday it was returned to service. This morning, 1271, which is a tender out of Sagal, went down to Terry's Tanks to see about getting some pump work accomplished. There's an intake manifold that is it's poor design and it was not going to last. They bought that truck in Georgia and it apparently doesn't understand what Idaho snow is, so that wasn't going to work out. We did notice it, and it was temporarily repaired during wildland season, but this is going to be the more permanent fix for it. Projects in the final throw, sent the review back for the SOGs back to Deputy Fire Chief Armstrong. We have 2 that we're going to sit down and go over together, just because they're so kind of detailed. We want to make sure that we're hitting everything. And there's no community engagement activities scheduled for the month of January. Again, same reasons, but other than that, that is the chief's report. All right. Are there any questions or comments about the chief's report? Sorry, I got to read the script thing. Financial report. The next item on the agenda is the monthly financial report. I will yield the floor to City Finance Director Sarah Lenz.
All right, we will start with the station district wages and benefits page first. And I wanted to point out that we are through the end of December, we have 5.5 pay periods out of the 26 paid for the year. And we are that's 21.15% of the year gone. So if you look at the different stations, Sandpoint's at 18.52, Sagal's at 19.57, and Westside's at 24.42% spent. That is, and the 24 for Westside is, when you look at the overtime line, that is the majority of the overage. Otherwise, it's looking good, much better than last year at this time. And then going on to the fire JPA administration, we are 3 months in on that. That's 25% of the year. So if you look down on December, there is one large purchase I wanted to point out. That's safety PPE medical supplies. That is the and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that is the turnouts, the large purchase of turnouts that were done and that's the majority of them for the year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is why this month
Almost the whole budget
is,
spent,
yes, yes. But other than that you won't see maybe a little bit here and there for the rest of the year on that line item, but that blew off this month, and then that made the overage for the year to date at 29%. But otherwise, it is in line with the only other one that we've been pointing out is the finance services. That one is a little bit above budget compared to that, but we did have a new staff come on to learn how this all works, and we also had station changes too that does take quite a bit of time on our end of it. So
and the iCrim, sir, we made the half a payment on that, yes, right, for the year. Okay,
correct. Yep. And the next one come through, I think it's March is the next one. So.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise, there's no other ones to point out or nothing unusual. Just normal day-to-day transactions on the administration one. Any questions?
I have a question that's not really challenging numbers at all, but since this has come up often, that it's cumbersome to do the JPA?
That has never been
administration?
said to anyone.
No.
I have no idea
Okay.
why that keeps being said and brought
Okay.
up. It never has been said, and I've never even talked to anybody besides this group. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so,
that's, to me, that's been words put into people's mouths.
so is this the amount of admin that generally covers the hours needed to do the JPA?
So the first line there is city
Yeah.
admin. That is the city administrator's position. You will see that, that will not be in there anymore.
True,
So
okay,
that
that's what
line
that
will go
one is.
down. Unless that's position's filled and is filling the role.
Okay,
In the meantime, I believe that the mayor or the chief will be the one that will be presiding these meetings. Again, I'm assuming that.
okay.
The finance, that's gonna be my group that does all the payroll,
Mhm.
all the AP, so all of this, and then
Yeah.
also preparing all the bills, and then also accumulating everything like that. Central services, that is IT, that is AP, if there's any grants, if there's any anything like that, any POs that go out that need to be, so for example, on the PP&E for that,
Yeah.
we had to go out for bid for that, so then
Yeah.
she, or not bid, but go out for quotes and all that, so that is
Part of that work,
part of
yeah.
that work as well. And then fire administration, that's going to be chief, assistant chief, admin assistant, and I think that's all that's in that line. Yes,
Okay.
it is. And then from there, it's just line items.
Okay.
And then you can see behind here actually has the detail. So if
Yeah.
you want to actually look at the actual, each transaction in there, that's back there. So if any other questions, let me know. Call me at any time.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So. Do we need a motion to approve financials?
No,
Just a review.
informational.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
And then just real quick, that is really what we do this for at this meeting, is so that if you do have anything that bring back to your meetings, then you can actually point those out and when they have questions.
Yeah,
So
that is helpful.
typically these aren't even presented to our council, but it's all wrapped up in our big financials. So
Got it.
this would be the only time you'd ever see this kind. They're gonna see it like every meeting that they have, they'll see this detail.
Got it.
Yep. Yep.
Any other questions? Comment on the finance?
No, thank you.
Old business, mutual aid and auto aid agreements. Next on the agenda is review the presentation that we began last month regarding mutual aid and auto aid agreements. So that one's on me. The mutual aid agreement is rests with the County Chiefs Association, and that's in process. We're working on that one. The auto aid agreement is more about what we talked about in here relative to responding with our partner agencies. Auto aid, we had an auto aid agreement that Chief Mitten and I from Northside have been working kind of back and forth on for the last month or so. And right towards the end of December, we were able to get it sent up to legal just to make sure that it passed muster, and legal did go through and add in. If you look at the auto aid agreement under the terms and conditions, the bold, it should still be in bold. Legal went through and added that. Just what we had in there was not detailed enough, and they wanted to make sure that it was detailed. So in general, basically with the exception of hazmat and supplies, everybody's kind of responsible for their own thing, their own people, their own trucks, their own stations, all that good stuff. Right now we have the mutual aid agreement, which is we get called out to a call, and once we're en route, we find out we kind of have an idea what's going on. We just get a short report or something like that from dispatch that lets us know. And at that time, the officer of the rig usually makes the call, whether they think there's something to it or they're, positive there's something to it. Then they pick up the microphone, they call for mutual aid. Auto aid basically is built into the run cards. So there's no, if it is like a structure fire somewhere on, this end somewhere, it'll pull the duty chief and it'll pull the first three engines that are set on the card, which would be a Northside engine, probably Sandpoint, and probably a Sagal Station 3. Nobody has to pick up a mic, they're all coming. So it kind of doesn't save a lot for the initial responding company, but it does save time for the second due, or the one that has to be called for mutual aid. They're not waiting anymore. And the first two companies not waiting for them to get called off the floor or have to call themselves. So we put this together. We're going to be bringing it around to the individual agencies and entities. But this one is pretty much done. The only thing that we added to it after legal, he said after, as long as we didn't change the bold stuff, we didn't want to. The only thing that we did change is after our last meeting, the JPA board wanted to put an expiration in for like the life of the auto aid agreement, instead of just, hey, you sign it, you're good until you want to get out, and then you just got to give notice.
So then-
They wanted an expiration on it, right? Chief Mitt and I were talking, we picked around some time frames. We figured 2 years is probably a decent one to do, and at least, go for the review and renewal if that's the way we wanted to go. So that's pretty much it. It was just more of a kind of an update on how that was going. What I would like for you guys to do is to, I wrote it out. I didn't write it.
Make a motion.
Yeah. To entertain a motion to recommend to the entity boards that we approve the mutual aid, well, not mutual aid, but the auto aid agreements as presented. Auto aid agreement. Should have had questions on it first. Let's do questions.
Yeah, let me ask one.
I jumped ahead.
That's okay. One clarifying question. How long have you been working on this with the JPA? Not us. Like, is this like the third time it's come up in the meeting? This is
I
old
think the
business.
first time we mentioned it, and then we talked about it at the December meeting,
And
and
then
the hopes was to
Took
have
to
it
legal
here.
and got it back here for this
Right.
one to approve.
I think that's the
Okay.
timeline.
So
Right.
it's like the third round of JPA looking at this.
I don't think they didn't see it the first time. We just
Okay.
talked about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we didn't have anything drawn up.
And then I had one other question. How often do you actually utilize this where you're calling on each other? In a
For us
in a
and-
6-month period?
For us in Northside.
Yeah, what's a guess?
Every structure fire we go on, just about,
So it's
it's
in
kind of like,
action all the
yeah,
time.
it's always in action,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And we have an auto aid agreement already with Timberlake. I think I found the paper on that one. We signed that one back in 2019. It's for a specified area
Mhm.
at the south end of the city, down past Carywood. It's a specified area down there.
Yeah.
But we're using this one. We want to be able to use this one as a launch pad because that one needs to be updated as well. And the County Chiefs Association, West Pond Array wanted it because they're going to be using it with Washington District 4, whichever one they have over there. And then Priest Lake wanted it as well because those agencies up there want to get together on automatic aid instead of have a call for everybody.
So I'm assuming part of this is procedure you're already doing, I'm not ever out on a call, so, item 8's probably already something you're doing. Is that accurate? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sort of proving something I don't have a lot of background knowledge on, but I have no
don't have a
problem.
lot of background knowledge.
No
in the
problem with that.
education system either. Other than the other side of the desk, but that's it.
So, yeah, are there other questions?
Yeah, so we already had this agreement in place and we're just amending it to add that bold, or
No,
this is the first time we've ever had.
This is the
one?
first time we've ever had an autumn. We have mutual aid
Moving
agreement
from
with
mutual
Northside
to
already.
auto.
Right, we just would like to we'd like to see it as auto aid just to kind of help save a step.
Okay.
Help get those folks off the floor a little quicker,
Got it.
or get us off the floor a little quicker if they're having an issue.
Okay,
The only thing, that we did talk about that we agreed on was that each agency, will respond to medical incidents as they currently respond to medical incidents with Bonner County EMS. We don't respond to those calls the same way Northside does, the same way that anybody else would. So we were going to keep, however we respond to medical calls, it's going to be us. We won't be calling Northside in to run our medical calls, and they won't call us to go run theirs.
Okay.
So,
Is that,
because that can get a little hectic.
I didn't see that.
Is that not in there? If
No,
it's not in
maybe
there,
it
we're
is,
adding it.
No,
Because I know we talked about it, and I told legal especially.
I may have just missed that one.
So is the motion we're making to move it to the individual
No,
entities or for this?
Correct.
well, and then it will get approved at the individual entities and signed?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make that motion. To move the auto aid agreement to the individual entities for their review and potential approval.
Is there a second?
I would second it with the caveat that if you do want to say something about the medical being handled, I still didn't see it, although I
didn't
missed
see it
things
in there
before.
either. I didn't see.
Is it
there either.
worth
It should
putting
be
in there, or?
Yes. It is, because we run way more medical calls than Northside currently does. So I don't wanna, we don't wanna pull their resources in just to run medical calls and vice versa.
So I would second that. I would amend that motion to say with the correction to add the medical call exception that you outlined here in this meeting.
It's under number 6, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I went right over it again.
I did too. Oh,
There we go.
it's item 5, yeah. Never mind.
There we go.
Go back to the original.
Yeah. I was like, I knew I typed it somewhere. I just blew right past it.
Yeah, okay. We're back on the original motion.
So is there a second?
I'll second that original motion. Sorry to confuse it.
Or you could second that emotion. We have to break out in song then.
Very nice.
Okay. So then it'll be a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed, vote passes, I'm sorry, motion passes.
Thank you.
New business. The new business for this month is a program called Bricer. And Bricer is, you make it back in there. So Bricer is a platform that is used in fire inspections for automatic fire sprinkler systems, commercial range hood extinguishment systems, things like that. So when we go out and we're inspecting those, we're making sure that they've been inspected in the last year. They've had their test inspection every 5 years for automatic fire sprinklers. What this company does, and this company also, if you looked at too many of that stuff, they also work with Boise, and they work with Lewiston, and I think Meridian. Several departments in Idaho already use them. But what they do is they are the platform that basically tracks all those inspections. So as a company comes in to do the visual inspection on an automatic fire system, they have to file their paperwork. They file it to the Bricer platform, and they're charged a fee by Bricer it's like 18, 20 bucks, something like that. They charge that fee to them. They actually maintain all the records for that. We have access to it on a dashboard. They will report to us what's coming up, what's overdue. They also send out the reminder letters of, hey, this is what's wrong. You need to have it inspected, that kind of stuff to the property owners. And it basically just keeps track of everything. We originally looked at this, just kind of focused on how do we not let any of our sprinkler systems and fire extinguishing systems slip through the cracks. One of the biggest things that we see when we're out doing inspections is extinguishers out of date, and automatic sprinkler systems haven't been checked in a year, things like that. So what we're trying to do is rein that in and get that a little bit closer, at least so we got a tighter sense and a tighter pulse of what's going on. These guys take care of everything. They send us a report every month, let us know what's up, what's due, things like that, and how they're handling it. We still check those things on our inspection, but they are basically the warehouse for keeping all the records for that stuff. Right now, it's just kind of, they drizzle in here and there, and we file them, and there's not really a rhyme or reason to how that works. So
if I understand this correctly, Bricer would be passing a fee on to whichever company is hired to come in and do the inspection in the building, and then they'll pass it on to the building owner.
Sure.
But you mentioned this has been used in Boise?
Yeah, they use it in Boise, Lewiston. I want to say Meridian, and I think Caldwell, uses it as well, I think McCall. But I know it's used here in Boise is one of their notable ones that they use. So I'm sure they're way more massive in what they have to keep track of than we are.
So you'll get a report and it'll tell you, because right here, the result is 30 to 40% of commercial buildings are in, behind on this.
Mm-hmm.
What's the impetus to actually get their report into Bryson through this? I mean, it's just
they have they have we let those people know they have to get in touch with whoever their vendor is, and
Yeah.
their vendor comes in and handles it. When we get in touch with them, especially if their alarm system, not their alarm system, but their automatic fire sprinklers out of date, we get in touch with them and then we follow up with them. We give them like 30 days, just like
Maybe they're fined
extinguishers.
or something.
to
I
get-
don't even know what happened.
We're not into the finding part yet, but I mean,
I was like,
hopefully,
'cause-
hopefully someday we will be, because there needs to be
I
some
was gonna
type
say,
of
if somebody's already neglecting it,
enforcement. Right.
how does having this platform change what they're doing? They're
Well, I
gonna be
think
like,
in
just
my
one more
understanding,
level.
I think that this platform actually gives us the structure to be able to start going down the enforcement road rather
and
than
saying, here's.
how did we
Yeah.
know, why did you just pick me instead of anybody else? And well, we pick everybody. So here's how we do it. And this is our process. So it kind of gives it that the teeth to kind of go down the enforcement road. So that's what we're looking into. But it's kind of, we got to start somewhere.
And about how many of these inspections are there in the JPA area?
Oh, every building. Firm checks on ours over at,
Yeah, not all of them, but there's a significant amount of commercial structures have them. We're also seeing more and more residential homes having what they call the 13R series, which is residential fire sprinklers. Those are starting to pop up more and more, especially as people are doing ADUs and things like that.
Sure.
So we just did like three finals in the last 3 weeks. We did one residential and 2 commercials already. So as these buildings are going up, part of if they're tripping some of the items, some of the things in the code, then that triggers them that they have to get their sprinkler system. So we have to go final them and get it all set up.
Are all single partners sprinkler?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get an idea of, the dollar
the
amount,
scope of it, yeah.
$20 per building, and we have several thousand buildings.
If we had say 250 of them, I mean, that's kind of what it would be.
Oh, okay, 250, okay.
The same,
Yeah, I was
just
just trying to get an idea.
it's not like not all of them have it. It depends on when they were built. And if you build one, if there's an older building and you do, I hate to use this building, but I'll use it. But this building it's a building. But when they went into remodels and things like that, they kind of divvied it out, so it didn't trip the trigger for sprinklers. They got it in some parts, but not the other parts, right? So if you're doing a remodel on an older building, if you hit a certain dollar amount or a certain percentage of it that you're remodeling, it hits those triggers. You have to bring everything up to code.
Gotcha.
Right.
And right now, there's really no system for making sure that the owner of that building is keeping up with the maintenance. Is that?
Well, we can check it and we can go back and re-inspect it. If they're not doing it, then we can continue to go there and re-inspect it.
But there's no finding system.
There's not really a fine in that. There's no
I'm kidding about the bull.
Yeah, there's no enforcement side of it really. We're kind of looking at a couple of things in the city limits. Maybe it's their business license isn't renewed until it's brought up, or something like that.
Sure.
But the city of Sandpoint is not the only one that has these systems. This is Sagal has them all the way down to Carywood. I mean, the new buildings that are going in, Dover's got them.
Yeah.
So this is just one of the things that everybody's on the same page. And if we can build that structure in, then at least we have a launch pad basically to start going down the enforcement road.
Gotcha.
Okay. So is this an action item it says action item that we need to approve.
We want to approve it to send it out to the entities, right?
I don't have a problem with that.
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the Brycer program implementation as outlined.
You want to recommend it to be
No, second.
recommendation.
So we're taking it as a recommendation. Our motion is to take it forward to the other agencies for approval. So moved. It's been seconded.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed, the motion passes. Good, and then item number 10, adjournment with no further business before the board. This meeting is now adjourned at 14:34. 2:34.
very fast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is council lights?